the guy with the Nord Micro Modular. What are we listening to today? It's a patch I definitely did not make. I'm not smart enough to even understand the name of this patch, I swear to God. The name of the patch is x equals gx bracket 1 minus x bracket. Yeah, it's a math patch. I like it. I know how to like it, but I don't know how to understand it. Sorry. It's probably something to do with math, or maybe, what's that called? Like the cellular growth theory. Like, if there's too many C's, they'll grow a E or something. It's like in nature. You guys know what I mean? Anyway, enough BS. Let's dive in here. I'm going to do a couple of different sessions today. So let's just get straight up started. Back to silence. The last time I was on here, I said I was going to make a Game Boy landscape. And what I made was okay. It was fine, but it was not a Game Boy landscape. Today, I am going to try and actually make one. When I say Game Boy landscape, Game Boy means lo-fi, lower bit rates, lower sample rates, and landscape means a generative sequence where multiple small sound creation devices make their sounds either completely independently or semi-independently. Let's dive in. Here's a little noise generator. Follow him up with a let's give him a good envelope. Let's give him an ADSR so he can do some fading. And after him, we're gonna chicken fry him with the digitizer. This is sort of my starting point from the last time, which is fine to recreate just because I went in such a different direction in the end. But yeah, noise. Remember, red is audio, so the noise output goes into the envelope output goes into the digitizer goes into the mixer. Noise can be very high frequency sound. I'm turning off the quantizer because I don't want the noise to be too low. I want the interesting bits to be in the high frequency zones. And I'm going to trigger this guy with a little random generator. Is this a random pulse generator? We're probably going to see a couple of these random pulse generators today. So one of my plans is to use them to build a pseudo clock, a fake clock. Okay, so I'm going to make him trigger less frequently. I'm going to fade him in slowly with the attack knob. I'm going to fade him out slowly with the release. And I'm going to have his sustain level down a bit. Right now, his sample rate is fixed. We got to give him something more, well, I guess it's going to be a lot of random generators today. Here's one. We're going to set it to a nice slow tempo. Actually, you know what? Just to be perfectly clear, let's give him a filter. We're going to give him a fixed filter, which is a static high pass filter. As I said, I don't want too many noisy bass tones in here, so I'm just going to cut them right out with a static filter. Do I use static filter a lot? Not really, but it's pretty low on the processing load, so it has a place. Here you can hear the sample rate wobbling. Might sound better with a random step generator. Let's switch it over. It plays pretty infrequently now. Even wider range to be random mover. Very wide range. Cool. So yeah, he pretty much has a completely random access to the entire sample rate zone here. And the speed he's changing sounds at is pretty good for me. I took this signal out, but I'm going to leave the generator in because I'm going to use it for something else. I guess I'm listening on headphones, so maybe I'm not hearing as much bass, but it seems to be pretty filtered out. Let's go on to the next sound, and we'll tweak the first sound if we don't like it later. This time I'm going to use a percussion oscillator. Not to get too repetitive, but I do need another digitizer for the Game Boyish nature of what I'm trying to do. The percussion oscillator doesn't need an envelope. He is his own envelope, I guess. Send him in here. And I talked about making a fake clock. Let's do that for this, and let's maybe recycle it for a couple of the other options. First of all, what is he going to clock? Well, he's going to clock an event sequence. And the event sequence is going to play back a pattern that triggers the percussion oscillator. But I'm not going to use a normal clock generator. I've already got a random pulse up here. Let's make another one. Often the fastest way to make two of the same thing with the same settings is to just click on it, push down the control button, and then drag it into a new space. It doesn't really matter. It only has one knob, so it doesn't really matter what the settings are. Let's give them two different speeds. Of course, you can see when they're on or off because of the flashing of the green light. And then let's create a logic module. Logic processor. Yep. Cool. And this is where we get into the computing side of things. I don't want to become too big of a huge nerd here because I'm not really qualified to do it, but a lot of the yellow-colored signals here are really, binary computer signals. They're either on or off. The random pulse generator, when it's on, is like a 1, and when it's off, it's like a 0. So not to get too philosophical, but we are doing audio computing in a sense here. So I send my two random outputs, and then the output of this processor will be either and, i.e. it'll send a signal when they're both on, or it'll send a signal when either of them is on, and XOR, which means it will send a signal when one is on and the other is off, I think. Unfortunately, I can't see the output of the logic processor, but I've set it to OR, meaning when either guy is green, it sends a signal. I'm going to make that my clock for this little guy. So you can see the clock started, and then it stopped. Then it went one step. Oh, there it is. It's advancing step by step whenever it receives an OR signal. You heard a little ping from the percussion oscillator. Give him a bit of decay here. He's not playing very frequently, as you can see. The little button is still advancing, but very slowly. Okay, if we turn this up. But I don't really want to turn it up because I liked its frequency, how I was using it for the cloud of noise. So let's just make another one here. And make the two of them, number 2 and number 3 are now the drivers of the clock for this guy. And I've set their speeds to faster. You can see the little green button here advancing more quickly, although it's still pretty darn slow. So I got what I wanted. It's pinging this percussion oscillator whenever it feels like it, and not really on a repeatable pattern. Let's give a little bit of randomness to his sample rate. Actually, maybe let's give him a lot. I don't want to give him the same number as before. How about a clocked random step generator? Oh, I was also planning this in my mind before programming today. Clocked random step. Where are you, buddy? Come on. Clocked random step generator. There you are. Okay. So I'm going to use this. Usually clocked means you send it a normal clock. Well, I already built my own irregular clock. And I'm going to send it to here so he generates a random signal based on the same weird atypical clocking pattern. Cool. So that low pitch sound and the high pitch sound you heard are both this guy here. Remember, the only other noise is the cloud. Let's turn that cloud down a bit. Now you can hear the percussion oscillator more clearly. That was him. Okay, we did something cool here. I like that sound. I want to make it even more interesting. I want to give him a filter. Let's give him a weird filter. Let's give him the vocal filter. Yeah, that's a weird one. At the time I bought this synth, a vocal filter was like almost an impossibility. You wouldn't get it on a virtual analog synth. You wouldn't get it on almost any kind of synth. So maybe in a computer. Now that's not so rare, but at the time I was like, wow, that is extremely odd. So again, you can pick which vowels you wanted to navigate between, including 2-letter vowels. Cool. Of course, I can recognize that the little bit of reverb on my sound card is also helping the overall tone here, but I still like it. There we go. The vocal filter is going to do some odd processing to the irregular ping of the percussion oscillator. Yeah, that was a cool one. You hear that? The noise cloud is a bit long. Cut it down a bit. Oh, I know why. It's because this pulse generator, whenever it's on, it's on. So it doesn't even begin the release phase until this green light turns off. Because, as this little graph is showing me, the further you are to the left, the longer the gate will be open when it plays a note. It can't be playing infrequently and be short. It's going to be infrequent and long. And then as you turn it up, it will be shorter each time. I don't think I have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with either of these tones. Let's dive in and keep on making weirdness here. There's another one. Ooh, the spectral osc. I've used this guy a couple times before. He is definitely going to need a envelope of some kind. Let's give him an ADSR as well. Before I start processing him, I'm just going to set him up clean and see what I get from him. I need to trigger that. I think I'm going to use the second channel of my weird sequencer and use that to trigger this envelope. Why not? That's him there. You can see they're actually both tuned to the same note. Let's make this guy the bass line and tune him way the heck down. Maybe to E2 should be reasonable. So 2 octaves below the other guy. And we'll pop some randomness into his spectral shape. I'm running out of outputs of blue stuff, so again, to save processing power, I'm gonna get a little mixer. This is a control signal mixer at only 0.16%, and just mix two random sources together and use their output as a new random source. Why? Because it's cheaper in processing power. So now I like partials odd. Again, it gives you more of a square wavy tone. And the spectral shape is completely under control of this randomness here. Maybe that's why it's so brief. I'm not sure. There he is. That bass tone is the spectral osc. He's triggering less frequently than the other guy. Oh, here's something interesting. So, there's the output. This is when to play. Let's do something different. Let's take another logic processor. And I'm going to mix another two logic signals. I'm going to leave it on OR. It still means either one. I'm going to take this random pulse again and make him one of the options. That means this envelope will now trigger when either the random pulse generator or the sequencer tells it to. Well, that's kind of overwhelming. So why don't we do and when they're both on, which shouldn't be very frequent. We heard that bass note for a second there. That's him. Okay, so he's not overwhelming the whole sound universe here now. That's probably too much. Give him some more release. Because he's only going to blink on very infrequently now. So let him have some release tone so he can, die away a bit longer. Getting pretty close to what I was going for with this Game Boy landscape, to be honest with you. This is kind of what they sound like. There's lots of processing power left. I guess I'll keep going. Let's build it up and give me some more odd and weird sounds here. Since I have so much processing power, I'm going to go nuts and make a couple of drums. There's a couple of big drummers. And I think I want to make them playing not typical kicks and snares, but more like percussion tones. What we might used to have called 20 years ago, quote-unquote, ethnic percussion. Tom-toms might work. Let's see what we got for toms. But again, we want them to play, or I want them to play something weird. So let's make that happen. Before we get into, before we process them, let's just run them straight into the mixer and see what we get. One of them might be, let's try clock pattern generator. We've seen this guy before. It's our shortcut to patterns that can be randomly switched between. He needs a clock. I wonder if we can make another odd clock. Let's make yet another logic processor. How about we make him a child of... Well, let's remind myself. What was my other clock? He's made of Pulse Gen 2 and Pulse Gen 3. So let's definitely use Pulse Gen 1 as one of our sources. And then let's use 2 just because he's frequent. And then we use him to trigger this pattern generator. See what we get. We should be able to hear the tom play something whenever he's up for it. Let's mute the other dudes just so we know when we hear him. That was, I think I heard a tom. Not much of a tom. We're not getting a ton here. Let's try this again. How about this? Let's take first a normal clock gen, just so we get a feel for it. Okay. That's what the tom is doing now. But we're trying to be weird here, so... Well, why not try? We are weird. We're always weird. Let's plug something else. What I just did here was I put the clock gen into the logic processor and the processor into here. Because the processor is set to OR, it will trigger just when only one guy's clicking, and that's what the clock is doing. So let's send him something weird. I don't know which one will be best. Maybe this one? Good. That's what I wanted. So what we've got really is like a regular beat being made by this guy and an irregular beat being made by this second pulse generator. And he sort of injected as like an extra beat. So rather than getting a steady 4 on the floor, we get something that's slightly, rushing ahead of itself. And it is kind of weird. It's a little boring. Let's go through some different tom sounds. There's a nice, fake, cheesy tom. I'll find some I like in here, don't worry. We'll mess with the velocity so that it'll be more interesting. Now we're into percussion. I like those two together, 3 and 4. Got that one on 4. Put the other guy on 3. And I guess I want to get another pattern generator. Give him a different pattern to start with. But do something similar. Let's copy the logic processor. So we send the same clock, but another weird clock to offset it. So neither one of them is running on a quote-unquote normal clock. And send that pattern to him. So really you just have the annoying hippie at a party with a couple of bongos type sound right now. Just turn that damn cloud off. Probably be better if it's slower. It's not bad with the 2 perks. Let's try some toms. Getting there. I'll get there. Now they're tuned. I wonder if a little bit of velocity might spice up the gumbo here. There we go. Now we're gumboing. So in our pursuit of random weirdness, again, velocity into the drum synths does a lot. It makes them a lot quieter a lot of the time. But it gives them some tonal variation too, because that's what velocity is supposed to do. I wish I could figure out a way so that the lower end of the velocity wasn't 0. There probably is a way that I have not figured out yet. What might that be? What if I took like a control signal mixer and then I like generated a steady control? Yeah, here we go. This is like a I don't do this very much, but I'm going to try. This is making a constant control signal. So that means the lowest number in this mixer will always be this, and the input will be a random number. So let's take the velocities out of here, plug a random source into there, and then plug the output into the velocity. I'm gonna mute this one so we just hear one. I think that actually did what I wanted it to do. Amazing. I learned something today. Let's do this again. I just copied both modules together. The constant signal is still going into this one, although I lowered it. I'm going to send him another random source and send his output to the other guy's velocity input. Oh, it's currently occupied. Oh, dude. There we go. Okay. And unmute. Good. We had this rate up. Let's dial it back down again. Even less, maybe. Doesn't get any less than that. What if we turn these guys down slightly? Neat. Let's unmute some of the other bros. I think with what we have left, let's also digitize the two tom-toms. Keep it Game Boy. Keep it Wanderer Game Boy. It may not be as extreme as the other guys, but we can Game Boy them up a little bit. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a Game Boy landscape. I actually got to say, this is better than I thought it was going to be. Today, I was actually planning to do multiple recordings. Like I was going to try and do 3 at 20 minutes a shot. But this one is already over 20 minutes, but I liked it, so I kept going. Let's turn these quantizers off. Give them a bit of freedom to mess around with the sample rate. We can recycle some of these control signals here. Actually, we don't want the one out of that mixer. Let's make another mixer. Give him a couple sources of weirdness. Switch it up a bit with the inverter. Sell him that. Gotta open it up a bit, I think. Let's just mute the first voice. You can hear what the toms are actually doing. There's the sample reduction. Maybe we need to... Cool. That's actually better. Maybe they don't need quite as much wild variation. I max them out because they already have their velocity being freaked with. Unmute the other boys again. I'm liking where we're at. We'd like a little bit more motion for that quote-unquote bass line of mine. Let's give him yet another filter. And this time, this is the classic low-pass filter. Although I've used this a ton, I haven't used it much in the broadcasts. Let's give him an actual, like, normal LFO just to be totally different. Which one is this? Open up the amount. How fast is he going? Gonna mute the other guys so I can just hear what I'm hearing here. Yeah, that's you, buddy. How come you aren't more wobbly? Keyboard tracking? I don't get it. What am I freaking wrong here? Quiet cloud. Yeah, that's supposed to sound like that. Maybe change the dB setting? Don't tell me I'm on the wrong... Oh, wait, did I connect the filter to the wrong guy? That would explain why. Yep, that's what happened. This filter is actually not processing the bassline at all, which is why you don't hear it. The bassline is going from here into here and out. So let's just remedy that situation. Remove the filter completely. Repass lifestyle choices. And then send, nope, wrong again. Send this one from number 3 into the filter and the filter into the mixer. At least we'll hear something. Finally, we got it. Okay, play me a few more notes, buddy, so I can hear you. Maybe because those densities went down, he triggers less frequently now. Give him a few more notes here. He's also very underwater because of all the low-pass filtering. Feel free to play a note anytime. There you are. That's better. Now I can hear it. Okay. That extreme rate was just so I could be sure it was actually wobbling. There we go. Sounding good. Okay. So we all make mistakes. It's fine. Maybe it's because I had I had poor column discipline here. If I had all the envelopes in column 3 here, now we've got the filter and the digitizer for the noise cloud here, and the filter and the digitizer for the... Oh, he doesn't have a digitizer, just the filter for the second ADSR is here. I would also say that we just have so much logic and processing going on here that it can't fit into my small laptop screen. But yeah, all this stuff here should really be in column 1 according to the strict rules. Sometimes I might just dump it somewhere else, like let's say over here. The LFO can live with them. Okay, and I'm going to unmute the other dudes now. Let them come back into the mix. There's Cloudy Boy. There's the tones. They're a little bit loud now. Let's just adjust our levels. Get it all pleasant. Good stuff. The bass is brooding and wobbling at the bottom of the frequency spectrum there. And I think we did it. I don't really care what my original time frame was for this. It took me the time to build it right, so I guess I shouldn't rush things. I do have time to record at least one more session today. One of the reasons I wanted to do shorter ones is because I want to normalize the audio after the recording for YouTube. And when I do that, it takes a long time if the file is very big at the beginning. Let's just listen to this a little bit. Oh, absolutely can't forget to save. Save as. Where's my streaming patch archive? And I'm going to call this one. All those things there because we had some saving issues yesterday, but the video was lost, so nobody heard that. Yeah, that was the last one. So this one is called... Damn, it keeps resetting back. This one is going to be called 05 Nintendoscape. It's a good game name for a Game Boy landscape. God damn it, stop clicking on that button. 05 Nintendoscape. And then quickly hit save before it. Oh my god, it did it again. You gotta stop being on there. 05 Nintendoscape. Why does that keep happening to me? God, why are you torturing me? Here we go. Okay, I got it saved as Endscape. I'm also going to save it in the synth. Ooh, it's doing something cool now. That's a great... If you get your generative patch right, the longer you run it, the more it does things that you're like, hey, I never told it to do that thing. Because the parameters are truly evolving over time. See? Good stuff. Okay, that's it for Father Moon. This patch, our next session, we're gonna try and go through some more variety of patches. Tune in for that. Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate the support. for the Nord Micro Modular stream. Peace.